to the American Gunfighter Podcast. Hosted by your instructors from Ghost Ring Tactical. With their combined experience in the military, law enforcement, firearms instructing industry, and security, they'll be discussing tactics, training, firearms, and equipment to help you become an even better American gunfighter.
Hey everybody, Nick here with another episode of the American Gunfighter Show. Today we have with us Mike Ano.
Hey.
We have DJ Calloway.
How's it going?
And we have our special guest, Tom Davis.
Hello.
All right, we are going to be interviewing Tom on this today's show. Tom is running for the U.S. House of Representatives. I will come straight out and tell you that, I don't do much in the realm of politics. So it's going to be very interesting to talk to Tom about why he's running, the process that he's going through, and basically we're going to find out how much time it takes before he becomes corrupt, like everybody, all the other politicians. Mm-hmm. Right, Tom? Is that a lie?
Yeah. I don't think you're too far from the truth, to be honest with you.
All right, guys. So sit back and let's dive right in. So, Tom, give us a little bit about a little bit of background about yourself. Go for it.
Okay, so I am an Army veteran. I served almost 25 years. So July of '89 until April of 2014.
Okay,
I was an 88 Mike, which is a motor transport operator, which is just a truck driver. I served in a variety of different positions: wheeled vehicle operator, tool room clerk. I was a squad leader. I was a drill sergeant and platoon sergeant.
You were a drill sergeant? I
was, yes.
Damn.
And I actually had, so I was a basic training drill sergeant, which typically is a 2-year tour.
Yeah.
And I just reported when the towers came down.
Okay.
And so went through all that, and then the invasion of Afghanistan started. And so anyway, we got to the end of our second year, got orders, hey, you get to leave, and then they froze us all in place. So 3 years as a basic training drill sergeant.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, that was actually, being a drill sergeant was probably one of the most rewarding jobs that I ever had in the Army. But so anyway, I was a drill sergeant.
Okay.
And then, when I got out of the Army, I went home to Arizona, served as a police officer for a little while, and then moved to Tennessee in 2017 to be closer to family. And then out there, I did a couple other jobs. I was a property manager for a little while. I started my own business, and then actually started doing YouTubes. Okay. And then I do have my own channel. And then, just kind of got led into this run for Congress. It started, so last year at the Memorial Day ceremony that we do in Warren County, the VFW, we were in charge of it. And the guys in the organization asked me to give the speech, to be the guest speaker at Memorial Day. And so,
what did you speak about?
So within that speech, I kind of laid out some of the issues that I've seen, and I think all of us see within the country, and where in the office of the president,
what made you choose this topic? Well,
for Memorial Day.
Why talk politics?
Okay, so what I did, I laid out those 4 places, which president, the Congress, the media, and then we the people, and then put solutions in too. And as far as how we fix this and how we the people take it back. And why I did it that way is I felt what a better way to honor those that have given the last full measure for this nation, the procedures and some solutions maybe to take it back. Because
I got you. Yeah, I just wanted to follow it. I'm like, what's the relationship? How is Memorial Day?
So that was just so like I said, in that speech, laid that out, and actually there was very positive feedback on it, and was asked at that point, had I ever thought about running for office?
Okay, basically, a speech about how taking back our country.
Yes,
in memory of the
how to honor them, because at the rate we're going with the things going on, the republic is going to fall. It's just a matter of when. And so in this nation, we have
the republic has to fall.
Fair enough.
Right, good.
But we have the levers and the systems in place to fix that. And it was us, we the people, that have been asleep at the wheel and have allowed this political class to take over, basically. And then it's all about, the division amongst we the people. And I mean, and you have to have the principles to stand on. But a lot of this is just separation, or, the conflict, because that's part of, taking over. And it's a Marxist communist takeover of the nation. And so
and you think that you're going to make a difference?
I do. And it has to start somewhere.
Well, sure.
And that's part of that solution.
Start with you, because I'm never on. It can start with me.
So, and that's part of the solution is we pay attention to who we are electing to office. Okay. And in my background and my principles, and it is something to be very careful of, because it does happen, the corruption. Mm-hmm. And as I'm running this process and learning it, there's like roadblocks that have been put in place, and this is, by elected officials. And so keep
out all the riffraff.
Yes, if you will.
Yeah.
And so the process,
what they think is the riffraff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And each state has its own process of how you actually get on the ballot, and a couple different ways to do it. So, and I chose to run as a Republican because it most closely aligns with my values, the party's platform. Okay. So, but you can run as an independent, and that requires.
Does anybody as independents ever win or anything?
No, and that's
I've heard people running as independents, but I've never heard of any independent ever being elected.
It does happen very, very rarely. Okay. So that was, part of looking at the strategy of how to do this. Yeah. I was like, that's not going to happen. And in this particular district in Tennessee, the race is the Republican primary. It's slanted that far. Okay. So, and just an example, so the last election cycle, there was 172,000 people that voted overall. Okay. Was that right? No, 172,000 that the Republican nominee got. So in the general election, 172,000. The Democrat challenger to that was 44,000.
Oh, so way over.
So so that's the.
So Tennessee's pretty red.
Most of Tennessee, yes. There are some of those blue districts, and that's the population centers.
Is it the bigger cities and stuff like that? So same as here.
Let me ask you real quick then. So you said that you felt better represented by the Republican Party, that more aligned with your values. Is it that it more aligned with your values, or that gave you the better edge? Would you have been better represented, or do your values better represent an independent sort of category? Or you're like, I can see where I line up with the Republican Party. I may not agree with all their jargon and their agenda, but man, with those numbers, with the, almost double, triple the numbers of any other, the next biggest party, like I better go this Republican route, or was like, no, Republican Party is where I need to be.
So I think so. The question is did I pick the Republican Party
more because
I thought that it was the winner? Yes. Okay. No, that's where my values lie.
Okay.
Is why so it was independent or Republican Party.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that the Republican or as an independent, you're not going to. Chances are very slim unless you have a lot of money and a lot of name recognition already, which I do not. Okay. So that's why I went with the Republican Party. That was the best path at victory. So that's the race.
So it all started at that Memorial Day speech.
Yes.
Where then people came up to you and asked you if you've ever thought about running for office. You told them no.
I told them no.
No.
Yes.
Because this really wasn't something that crossed your mind.
No, nowhere on my horizon like, hey, let me do some running for office.
What was it that made you decide at that point? Like if someone came up to me and be like, hey, it sounds like you should run for office, and I'd be like, no. No. Yeah. So what was it for you that made you decide that it's like, you know what? I haven't really thought about this before, but let me give this a run. What was that?
So most of last year, I went to a lot of training courses.
What type of training courses?
Firearms training courses.
So I was trying to pull it out of you.
Yeah, perfect. So firearms training course, and what is a lot of the discussion there is politics. And then just even before that, just like digging into the process a little bit deeper.
The process of
our government, our system of government. Okay. Because so one of the things, what do you always hear? It's the threat to democracy, right? Which we are not a democracy, we are a republic. And so, these words are used to change a narrative. So anyway, just looking into this and the whole system and what it has turned into, I started seeing that more things need to be done. So I was already voting. So then I start making calls to my current representatives and then, hey, this is how I feel, vote this way, or this is how I'd like to see you vote. So calling those representatives. And then just started seeing that the votes were not necessarily going. And I'm under no illusion that when I call, they're going to do exactly what I say. It's,
Sure.
They like if 1,000, people are calling saying the same thing, then yeah, okay, let's take a look at it. And so that's kind of the process is what, we as citizens, that's how we communicate is we call them and we tell them how we think they should be voting. So that's the next step from just voting when we get into the booth. So looking at this stuff and how the system has become, so the gun courses. So at one of the courses I was taking, and more in the context of our civilian lives and with all the lawlessness that's going on, if you're at that point of impact where dumb stuff is happening, and not even just that, but if you find yourself standing around thinking somebody should do something, that somebody is probably you. And so kind of took that to heart, and so started looking more into the process. And then at the different levels of where we're represented. We're represented.
Okay, so you took that to heart where it was, it's like, hey, I want to see changes, so why don't I make those changes?
Yes.
Okay. And then you said you started looking into
to where I was represented at. So at my local level, we have commissioners in Tennessee is how it's broken up there.
Right.
And then, county executive, and then our state representatives. And then I was pretty comfortable with all of those guys.
So
the conservative values.
Doing what?
Yep. They were,
you liked their values. You liked
Yes.
what they were stood for. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you didn't want to run against any of them because they were doing what
Yes.
you believe they
and they were all still fairly new.
Okay.
As far as they're not, haven't been there for, 20 years.
Yeah.
And so I was, and then when I got to the U.S. House of Representatives and started looking at his votes, I was like, this is not okay. And part of it is he's not in the district. So
what does that mean?
Who's he?
Scott Desjardins is my current representative.
Okay.
So in the off season, if you will, so the average days in session is 142 in a year.
Okay.
So about 142 days they're actually in Washington D.C. casting votes and doing, looking at legislation.
They're there that whole time.
No, it's broken up.
Is it broken
so,
up?
Yeah. So they'll. So
like I told you guys,
These guys have 142 days.
I know. I thought I was like, whoa.
So so just throughout the course of the year,
okay,
they're up there doing that. If they're not there, then they come back to the district, and
so like a week at a time.
It'd be 3 weeks or so, and then it varies from Congress to Congress.
Okay.
And the Speaker of the House will be like, all right, well, it's time for Christmas, so go home. And so it's broken up throughout the year. But then they come back to the district, and what I think they should be doing, and what we used to do, is they would be holding town halls and talking to people in the district
just to find out what the people want.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. So in addition to the calls, you're out in the district. These are the citizens that you represent face to face. Yes. Okay. So and in my search so far, I have found and probably have missed some, but no instances of Congressman Scott Desjardins being in the district in the last year.
In the last year.
Yep. Okay. And then he has one of the highest missed vote records in the current session of Congress.
Explain to me what that means.
So that means he didn't show up to vote. And there are some, some reasons why. I don't know what they all are, but to me, I'm like, you won an election. We decided that you go to Washington, D.C. and cast
for the people.
Yes.
And he's casting 0 votes.
Yeah, for or against something.
Yeah.
So a yes or a no, and he's missing the votes, not even showing up. And then some of the stuff he was or has voted for has been super questionable to me. And one in particular
give me an example.
is the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA. Okay. So this is how the money slotted out to go to the military. Mm-hmm. And within this legislation was funding for the gender affirming care. And so for military members, yes, active service members. And to me, this particular vote is doesn't play in at all to any type of belief system. What it comes back to is, does this support the defense of the nation? I say no. Best research I've seen, or what I can find and kind of judging, is this soldier, if they're going through this process, about a year, they're going to be out of the fight. They're going to be non-deployable, and limited profiles depending on where they're at, surgeries. So now, in essence, what is an elective surgery?
Yeah.
So now they have.
I'm pretty sure when we were in, we didn't get to have fucking cosmetic type surgery.
Well, that's not necessarily true.
No?
I remember
I never
significantly boob jobs were a big.
What?
Yeah.
And they paid for them?
Yeah, the Air Force probably.
Like,
Probably.
I don't remember hearing about that.
It was a big thing, and they were even pushing for like spouses.
What?
Yeah, to get on TRICARE to get boob jobs. And again, I can't back into this with science. It's all just shop talk and whatever.
Okay.
But it was a thing. Like it was definitely a thing.
I never heard that when I was
a self-esteem issue, and it became mental health. This was back when they were like pushing the Hawks and the big health and wellness centers, and mental health was a big push, and all the stigma from PTSD and all this other stuff, and it became this loophole again, right? Where it's like, well, I have low self-esteem because I don't have big boobies and no one pays attention to me. And so they would know shit.
Really?
Like, they would get elective surgery on the purview or on the assumption of mental health. So I can see that same with gender affirming care, where it's like,
same shit,
I don't feel right in my case in my skin, or blah, blah, whatever.
Maybe because I wasn't around females. We were never around females.
That sounds like, how long were you in the military?
4 years.
That sounds terrible. Yeah.
Like, I think
terrible for you. I was in a lot longer than that.
We saw females one time on a ship.
Yeah, that explains a lot. That's where they needed you guys.
Our entire area, there was no.
No, we were getting steak and lobster in Afghanistan. I don't know what you guys were doing. Yeah, you were doing it wrong. Wrong service.
We went to one ship that was a mixed gender ship. Even when we were on ship, like the first time, like
is this the fan room? Are we gonna have a fan room story?
That's the fan room. Shh. Nobody talks about the fan room.
Secret squirrel. Secret squirrel.
But yeah,
sorry, sidetrack.
The first ship we were on, it was all male. There's no females. So it's like, maybe we didn't hear about any of that stuff because we were like never around females.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's terrible news.
I don't know.
Yeah. I know of they'll do like breast reduction, but that's more of a,
health and still along the lines of health and wellness. Yeah.
So, okay. But it's the same concept. And I don't know how long that procedure would be, but so that was one vote.
Okay.
That he actually showed up for
and voted in favor of this.
Interesting.
Okay. So I was like, So like I said, based on my service, I'm like, now I got, some dude or whatever going through this process. And then, so not only you're taking that person out of the fight, but now depending on the unit, you're going to create some turmoil
in that unit. And now that person, I know, being from a flying unit, it was really important that everyone in a flying unit needs to be able to fly.
Yeah.
If you run waivers all the time, it was bad. Penguin.
Yeah.
You don't want any penguins.
So just stuff like that was that one in particular. And then, like I said, just not showing up for votes.
Okay.
And then, so that was kind of where I was like, all right, this is where it is.
Yeah. Right. So we're at the point where you have decided you were going to do something. You have reviewed all of the people, up the line.
Yes.
You've decided that you want to go up against the current U.S. House of Representatives in Tennessee.
Yes.
Now, what does that process look like? So now you've decided this is the spot I feel like I can make a difference. What's that process of getting into that office, getting elected? Well, what's that process look like?
So, and this will vary from state to state.
Right.
So for Tennessee, the requirements to be on the Republican ballot for the in the primary election, I had to have 25 verified signatures, registered voters in the district. 25.
That's what I'm like, 25. That's it.
Well,
So,
out of how many people?
They give you 3 sheets, and it has a total of 49 places that you can put signatures on. And so I had 49 on there. Of those 49,
49 slots.
49.
Yes, 49 different people can put their names on the petition.
Okay. I didn't understand that. Okay, so you get 49, but all you need is
25. The count they can verify.
Okay.
So so out of those 49, the ones that I had, 34 of them.
Who
counted.
verifies this?
The Federal Election Commission.
Okay.
So you just like go knock on a door, be like, "This is me. This is what I'm representing. Please sign my piece of paper."
Yeah.
That
And
is a
counts
way.
as one.
If they're, as long as they're registered voters in that district.
Or you just go to all your friends.
So my friends, and then
Start probably.
I'll go to-
yeah,
That's right.
yep,
Go to
your
my
friends in the
friends.
district. Yes,
Yeah.
and then
I would knock on doors.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
have 25 friends.
I wouldn't answer the door.
3. Yeah, I got 3.
so then I had a couple. There's a firearms. Foghouse Firearms
Okay.
is in McMinnville. I'm friends with him.
Okay.
and he let me set up in his store, and I just hung out.
Oh, okay.
And like as
Good spot.
You know,
Okay.
yeah.
So
And-
any customers coming in,
Yep.
hey, help me out. Okay.
yeah, or just I was like, hey, I'm running for Congress.
This is what I'm doing, you know.
Yep.
Okay.
How receptive were people? when
Very.
you were there? Yeah, really?
Yep,
Okay.
very, absolutely.
Not just like, oh, Jesus, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would walk away.
This guy,
There-
yeah.
I'd walk away. Oh,
Yeah.
you're okay. Yeah, no.
And then there was some of that, and that's how I'm like, hey, here's what I'm doing. If you want to talk to me, do your shopping, and then I'm not trying to one, hurt his business, but two, hassle people out, whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of people came over and talked, and that was, I think, the biggest place where I got signatures.
Okay.
And then also, throughout the nation, most counties will have in either party, but the Republican Party will have their county like GOP parties. So within those counties, there'll be people that hold meetings typically monthly. And so what I did is got in with one of their monthly meetings. I had my petition, and then like everybody there was like lining up to sign it. So
So how many total signatures did you get?
I got 49 total
filled
signatures.
up
I filled it up.
And how many were, what do you say, verified or
Verified.
Okay, verified.
Yep. So I took it to the bureaucracy. So the way
That's why I asked you, like, who's doing the
Yeah.
count? Who's saying they're verified? Who's
This guy right here.
Yeah.
Spelled that.
I don't like this guy.
Yeah. That's a little C, not a big C. Cash. Yeah, no. Nope.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the Federal Election Commission.
Okay.
So I picked. That's where
How
I picked.
legit is that organization?
That's questionable.
As
Okay.
legit as the rest of them.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm
Yeah.
asking.
Another, and so it was the Federal Election Commission was stood up in the early 70s, and that was to protect us from all the big donors and the
Ourselves.
special interests, and
Okay.
and so what it's done now is it's actually put some roadblocks in place,
Okay.
for the process.
Are they good roadblocks or are they bad roadblocks?
Just roadblocks,
Okay.
just stuff you got to deal with.
Just hoops
Do you
gotta jump
believe?
through, or, like,
do you
what is-
believe in these roadblocks? Should they be there? Should they not be there?
I would say no.
Okay.
I can see both sides of the argument.
Okay.
But what it does is this is how we get to where we are, is because now they've made this process a fair amount of work. You got to be pretty dedicated to
You gotta want it.
I mean, I don't.
You gotta-
I believe
you
in
gotta
that. I
want it.
believe in that. Yeah.
as long as it's not just jumping through hoops for the sake of jumping through hoops.
Right.
But if you do
Yeah.
some verifying, you do some accrediting, you do prove you
Yeah,
want this.
make somebody
Like,
freaking work for it because
Yeah.
most people
Yeah.
these days people don't want to work for anything.
Yes.
So I believe
So
okay.
Is it something you could buy your way through?
You haven't tried yet?
Partially.
You haven't tried?
Partially. No.
Partially.
How much money would it take?
Well, and that's so you can do it as an independent. But that's we talked before.
Right.
That's so you don't some of these other hurdles you don't have to
So
deal
independent,
with.
you're on your own.
Yes.
You're
Yep.
So at least
So-
going Republican, you have the Republican.
It means it's Air Force.
So being Republican, yeah, you have their backing.
Well,
Shut your mouth.
So as an independent, you just show up on the ballot on the general election.
Okay.
So as a Republican, I'm going to show up in the primary election for the Republican Party.
Okay.
And so that's just whoever Republican meets the requirements. So that was the signatures in there. So that you need to do that.
What else for requirements? So you got the signatures.
So I got the
Continue with
signatures.
Yeah.
And this is
I have
so
49. How many?
Yep.
How many verified?
34 that were verified.
Okay.
And so I pre-verified them in Warren County. And then they went through and they said, yep, you've got 34 of them. And then I had to take it to the Secretary of State in Tennessee and turn it in there. And then they sent it back to Warren County to verify the votes again. That's exactly what I had. That's the look I had.
They already verified?
They had already verified, done a pre-verified.
So did they just didn't want to do any work?
What's the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where it's like it's triple stamped and then double like Pete Moss for 6 months and then loop back around again and
yeah.
Jesus.
Okay.
Very
so
efficient.
I don't know, maybe it's unique to Warren County that they like, hey, bring your signatures in, we'll check them out because it's going to come back to us anyway. So I took that next step. I went up to Nashville and took my papers into the Secretary of State, turned them in there, and then I had 2 copies I had to take in there, and then one over to the Republican Party.
Okay.
And then then they, like I said, they sent it back. So I take it over to the Republican Party, and the chairman of the state starts looking through it, and he's like, yeah, your competition will verify. So what they're verifying he was talking about my voting record. So in Tennessee, to run as a Republican, you have to have voted in 3 of the last 4 Republican primaries.
Okay.
So Tennessee, when you go in to vote in the primaries, you tell them which ticket you want to pull.
Right.
Like I'm voting Republican or I'm voting Democrat. Yeah. And then from there that it shows, or it'll show you the list of candidates.
Okay.
And
so
is there like a checklist? Like, how do you know how to do all this shit?
I started asking questions.
Okay, so it's not like
who did you ask?
It's not like a step 1, do this.
Yeah.
Step 2, do
You go on
this.
Google
Step
and they
3,
just gave you a list?
Yeah, like how do I become a congressman?
Yeah, pretty much. I use DuckDuckGo, but yes. And so, and there's actually the Federal Election Commission does have like a guide.
Okay.
But again, but then each state, a lot of these laws come in at the state level, so that's why it's different from state to state. So, but yeah, so I started asking the questions and looked like, all right, how do I do this thing? And that thing being run for Congress.
Yeah.
And so, I looked it up, got into the Federal Election Commission. They've got a YouTube channel and they've got videos.
How-to videos?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have a solid understanding of the process from start to finish before you got involved? Or you're like, nah, here we go. We're gonna learn on the go. We're gonna figure this out as we go. Hurdles or no hurdles, or was it like, nah, now I know what I got to do. I'm willing to do that. Let's get this show on the road.
So yeah, I looked at the initial steps of it and was like, okay, this is something that I can do.
Okay.
At least to this stage that I'm at now. So this comes into like funding a campaign.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, at this stage, I can get to where I'm at now.
Yeah, it's like how much money?
Pretty
does
much
it
on
take?
my own.
So what stage are you at now?
Yeah.
Where are you right now in the process?
So right now I am bona fide in my credentials. My vote's been checked.
Did they use that word bona fide?
They do.
Say that.
Yes. Yeah. It is. Yeah. You be bona fide. Yeah.
Dog says that.
Okay.
So where I'm at now, so I'm bona fide candidate. I will be on the primary, on the ballot in the primary
Just
election.
you?
So far, me and Scott Desjardins is the current representative.
Okay.
We've got until April 11th or April 4th to turn in your petition. So it was a window from February.
What's the petition? What is that?
That's where the signatures that I got.
Okay.
The registered voters in the district.
Okay.
Has this guy had any other contention before, or is it his election just a given because no one's running against him?
It's been a given.
So no one else has gone up against him?
He was completely unopposed the last cycle. Yes.
Okay.
Why?
There's a lot.
Why?
I don't know. There's a lot of that out there. Like there's no one tries. No one because no one wants to jump through hurdles and deal with the bullshit.
Really?
It's like, oh, cool. I don't even got to try. We got to do nothing.
already here.
I'm already here. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And people get into that mindset like, and as a new, as a challenger, for someone to like change, I think this far in, I think we're ready for it. But, years past.
Have you already stated how long he's been in office?
I don't know. But he
How long has
first
he been in office?
Yeah, he first was elected in 2010.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 14.
14 years.
Yep.
Okay.
So he wins this one. It'll be another 2. He's at 16.
Term limits. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Loud.
So, and so that's the feel I get is that in the district. So he was unopposed last time. The time before that, there was 2 or 3. But it's about the name recognition and people. It's timing also. People just we don't like change, and so once it's like all right, it has to be an extreme thing to remove somebody, or the party wants you gone. That can happen too.
Okay. Does the Republican Party want him gone?
I have no idea. I think not. Just because he's been pretty middle of the road with things.
It's easy when you don't vote.
When you don't vote
Yeah.
for anything. Yeah. Pretty
So
middle of
he-
the road.
Yeah. So
You know what this guy does.
So yeah, he's not causing any waves, not outspoken really about any of the issues.
So because the Republican Party is basically backing Both of you, correct?
So you get that backing once you win the primary. However, there are some things built in to protect the incumbent. So one is him as the incumbent. He already has the war chest, if you will. So money on hand and a framework, a system in place. Folks on the ground that go and get his signatures on the ballots and then do that legwork. Right now, it's been all me. Well, I do have a campaign manager, so I have hit a little farther. But so he's got money and he's got people in place and the name recognition, which can go both ways too, because people are recognizing like this guy's not doing anything.
Are you getting the feeling in your canvassing and speaking with people at this gun shop and other places that your outlook and your perspective on him is the same from what you're hearing back from other constituents in his district, where you're like, yeah, I can remember the last time that guy voted?
Or are they like, who?
I don't know.
No, so the places I've been going right now, these are the people that show up and vote in the primaries.
Okay.
These are like the meetings that, they attend these meetings. They're involved in the communities. And so for the example of that, so 172,000 he got in the general election. In the primary election last time, 60,000 people is what showed up. So really, it was 60,000 people in the primary election that decided who our representative was going to be. Because the rest of those, 100 and whatever thousand, they just showed up on election day and said, "Oh, this is the Republican. I vote Republican."
Right. Just
this is yours. Yeah. So and that's on us again. We the people to know our candidates.
Yeah.
And who we're voting for and what they're doing.
I do that. I do that a lot too. With my check in the box, like, well, all right, these are who are on my ballot. I've maybe seen like one. I don't know. TV, I don't listen to the radio. Sounds good.
How do you separate yourself from the other one? Like, because when I get my ballot, there's 2 or 3 Republicans. Like, how do you make sure that they know who you are versus who the other guy is? Because most of the time I don't.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah.
No idea.
No clue.
So
his name looks familiar. Okay, check that box.
So that the advertising is part of it.
The money.
That
takes money.
That's where the money comes in.
Yeah.
But also, like I'm doing now, that ground game. So I'm out meeting people and talking to them, and the ones that are ready for the change, like, all right, and then bring them into the cause of changing our representative.
Okay.
So that's how. And you set out the battle plan, and so 60,000 is what I'm
what's
working.
The battle plan?
So I need to reach 40,000 is my number that I want.
You have to reach that many people
to get the word out
and make sure that they remember your name.
Yes. Okay. And there's percentages in there too. So what I have going in favor of me is where I'll fall on the ballot, as long as nobody alphabetically precedes me. Yeah, because about 7% of people
just react to the first one.
Yep, check the first one.
Shit.
Yep. So
no shit.
So there's some.
Okay.
But then just going out and actually meeting people and being in the district.
What are you doing for advertising then? What are you doing to do that?
So the advertising I paid for is it's a TV screen advertising, and in 11. So I've got
like commercial.
It's just a picture of what it is, and shows like the top 3 priorities, and then has QR code. My smiling face. No, I'm not smiling.
Okay.
But my picture, and then the priorities. A little bit of pretty.
Where do
minimal.
people see this? Where do people see it?
So in the district is where these are running, and there's some restaurants. So and what I'm saying. So I have 15 counties in my district.
Okay.
And in 11 of these counties is where these TV screens are. So there's a restaurant. I don't know.
Popping up on the screen.
Yeah. So it's TV screen up above the cashier.
Okay.
Wherever
what
they
else?
place them.
I don't think that is that. I'm pretty good at marketing.
Okay.
I don't. I'm just throwing it out there. Pretty good. Okay. I don't think that's going to reach enough people. What else are you is in the battle plan?
Obviously, the Gunfighter podcast is going to be.
Yes, that and
to the moon.
So, and actually it is a part of the battle plan is being on your podcast.
We did not bring him on here for marketing. Just
It's already chalk that one up. Started here. You heard it first.
He's paying me after the show.
And you were kind enough to let me on.
Yeah, no,
but just to reach the audience.
Yeah, it's like how do you, like, for me? Okay, I would say 90% of our business that come out to train with us comes from my social media ads, my Facebook, my Instagram ads. Are you allowed to do stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay.
So
is there any are they denying any ads? Are they, for me, it's always a struggle to get my ads approved because it involves guns. Right. Now, I always do get them approved because I know how to do it, because we don't sell guns here. We just sell training. But is there anything that holds you guys back from going that route, where you can reach more people on a scale where they're all at? On a restaurant, yeah, you're going to get some.
Yes.
But where's everybody at? So everybody's on social media.
Yeah. So that is part of the plan.
Okay.
But it comes back to the fundraising.
Sure.
So, and that's where I'm at is fundraising. And there's organizations out there that do it. And so that's my campaign manager is now making contact with those people to get us a fundraiser going.
I would love to know how much they charge you.
So it's a percentage. They get paid off of how much we make. And there are ones out there that'll charge you. But no, we're
how much you make.
Yeah. So like 20% is what I.
So your advertising is, what are you advertising? Aren't you advertising just yourself and your beliefs and please vote for me?
Yes.
Then what do you mean? How do they make money?
How much money he gets for his campaign?
So during the fundraising.
Okay.
So the fundraising organization. Yeah. So if they do an event and we raise 100,000, they get 20,000. So 20%.
Okay.
Based off of what they make, and that's a thing.
I could do it for way cheaper, sir.
Oh, all right.
As he's already told me, he's really good at it.
Yeah.
So you've maybe picked up on a common theme on the three of us. Not that we are by any means the representative of the majority of the population out there. But like, we don't know, right? Like, we hate voting. Mm-hmm.
I just hate politics altogether.
We hate politics in general. Yeah. I got so much other shit going on in my day-to-day life. How do you get us? How do you get our vote? Right? I feel like less and less these days are there people who are like on the fence. And again, this just could be my exposure to whatever the algorithm is showing me on my YouTube videos, because I don't watch TV. I don't watch TV either. How do you get to the people? Because again, it sounds like agenda-wise, like, sure, I live my 2A rights. I just let me drink my whiskey and shoot my guns and leave me the fuck alone. How do you get to those people? How do you, are we even the people you're trying to get to? Who is your base? Who do you
target market?
Who are those 40,000 that you're like, these are my people?
So, there's a bunch to that.
Sure.
So to guys, to guys like you that don't do it, so the rights that were being stripped away, the Second Amendment. I mean, it's going to go away if we don't do something.
Okay.
So, and doing something is, and
how do you make us? How do you make us believe that
our efforts?
Yeah, that it means
I get a return. That I get a return on my effort.
Because that's where it gets. I think that's where it's getting to for us, where it's like we feel like nothing that we do is going to make a difference. That it's just the big government is going to decide on what they want to do anyway. Yeah, and that's I think that's the struggle. Is like I want to believe.
Right.
So you know what? So just like the videos we watched earlier, stay in the fight. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's staying in the fight.
Son of a bitch.
Right.
Good. Shit.
But no, it is. It's a mindset. And we have been convinced that just like that, our vote doesn't count. Our voices don't matter. And if we're not picking up the phone and I'm not saying like every day call, but set a schedule. Like, all right, once a month.
I do the easy one, sir. I do the easy one. The editor sends it to me. All I got to do is
add your name here and forward this letter on. This letter on.
I give you those, but I never do anything else.
Here's the thing, that's probably more than what most of us do.
Probably most people don't even do that.
But most people don't even do that. Just like we talk about, you don't even come to training. But just coming here, you're already in like the top 0.2% of people who even just train. Just even trying to do it.
All right.
Yeah, so just even signing that form letter, I don't even do that.
You don't even do that?
I used to go, so I don't want to jump all over this, but I used to go to the Roundhouse in Santa Fe. We would go every year. Now, granted, it wasn't.
I have no idea what that means. Well, go ahead and tell me.
Know what that is. And it was for my occupational therapy, right? Because I was an OTA.
Okay.
So it wasn't for gun rights or anything like that.
Okay.
It was for occupational therapy, and we would go and we would petition all of our representatives from our districts. We would sit out and hit them, and then we would hit the other offices when they would be voting on like scope of practice acts, things like that, right?
Okay.
Where I've got someone who is like a farmer landowner. I've got a guy who owns like a bus company, and then some career politician who are on a committee deciding what it means for me to practice occupational therapy. They're the ones telling me what occupational therapy is and what it isn't. Like, who the fuck? You have what? Like, who are you? Who are you to tell me what I can do as an occupational therapy assistant? Get fucked. Like, you have no idea. And so we would go and try and educate and that was actually why I got into occupational therapy from the very, very beginning, because the VA doesn't recognize OT as a viable service for PTSD. Even though we started in
for PTSD.
Even though we started in the mental health. So I'm like, you know what? That was my whole goal before I even got into teach all this stuff, was I'm going to go and I'm going to advocate for veterans, for mental health through occupational therapy.
Okay.
And I went up there 2 years in a row, and I shit you not, I could not shower enough to get the slime off me. It was that bad. Like it was so just, and you didn't have to be deep in it to realize like just how fucking backhanded and you scratch my back. The just paying me just, I know you're fucking lying to my face. Like, you're sitting here in this chair across from me. You're not listening. You're like waiting for your appointment that you got to go and do it. Like, that's like, that's why I'm like, fuck it. I don't even fucking care anymore. Like, fuck you guys.
Yeah. And that's the process. But, and so, to keep you involved, is that mindset. And you've been, and having seen that, but this is not how it originally started. It's grown to this beast of what we have. And how do we fix it is we send
button. Reset.
Yeah, right.
Bring it on, Russia. Let's here we go. Let's do this.
But that's how they distract us. It's like, look at this shiny new war we got, right?
Yeah, or 30-second news cycle.
Yeah. So, but guys that are actually dedicated to, securing borders, cutting out the spending, just to get back to self-governance.
So what would you say, right? You said stay in the fight. You used our tactics against us.
Yep.
How would you say to the average person, how do I stay in the fight? We're having this conversation right now. You just heard my story about going to the Roundhouse and actually talking to these retards. How would you keep me in the fight? What would you say to me right now to keep me in the fight?
No. And so just that mindset of that it does matter. And we are on a path now. I do believe there's still time to recover from the nonsense. But what do we need is citizens that are involved. And it doesn't have to be, I'm not saying you do what I'm looking to do here, but at least know who your candidates are.
So forward that form letter.
Yeah.
Make that phone call.
Yeah. So get out and make the phone call, and then find the candidate that is most closely aligned to, whatever it is you're trying to do. And it doesn't even have to be in your own district, especially when you're talking about the U.S. House. And then,
certainly at the federal level.
Yeah. And then donate to individual candidates. In the campaigns, especially in some of the contested districts, if you will, where there's
money.
Yeah, it does.
It does. It all comes back to
it
money. It
does.
Man.
Yep.
Yeah. Whoever's got more of the cheese.
What's the voice of the angel? Like the kids, you got to feed the kids for.
Yeah, right.
Just give me a dime. I can feed 7. Feed 700.
Yeah, children.
Sarah McLachlan.
Just pulling the heartstrings.
Yeah. You want your guns? You want to keep your guns?
So me being from Washington, when they really started hammering on our rights up there, which they've been for a long time, but I was emailing my representatives. I was sending them messages.
You were staying in the fight.
So I was doing all of that. And then I watched, was last year, their session was televised. As I'm watching it, and seeing how they were trying to stand up for us. None of them knew anything about guns or gun rights or any of it. It was just kind of
just ignorance.
A bus driver, a landowner, and some career politician trying to.
Yeah, I mean, I was so upset watching it that my girlfriend basically told me to shut it off.
Yeah,
because I'm sitting in my living room yelling at these people because they don't know what they're talking about, and these are the people that are representing me. So if I've got that type of person representing me, how am I making a difference? Even though I am doing all the sending the emails and all that, but it's not, makes me feel like I'm not making a difference. So why the heck am I even trying?
So again, the mindset. But so then the next level of that, if you're doing that, is organization. So what organization? Because it's numbers. It's a numbers game. So if in that district they're getting thousands of calls every month about the gun rights, then that's how you influence that vote. And then if it's still not going the way, then either you yourself or find the candidate that is going to replace them and more will represent those values better. And it's it's simple, but it's not easy.
Do you feel like that's easier at the local government? Right? We're talking about Santa Fe and our roundhouse. He's talking about his local politicians. Do you feel that the impact is made more at the local level or at say your level?
I think it's got to be at all those levels, especially at your local level with like school boards and your commissions, and that's where it's very important. And then you start talking about county representatives and then state representatives, and that's in Tennessee right now. And they keep messing around with this. Is the nullification, which is the states. So basically, off of the 10th Amendment, which basically is the states, anything not laid out in the Constitution specifically is up to the states to do. And so what we've got now is the federal government has got its hands all the way down into our business in our household level. And so nullification is basically the states telling the government, the federal government, to pound sand. Just like you see going on in Texas right now with the border.
With the
so that's an example there.
Yeah.
And then another example I would say is with the Department of Education, because that's where a lot of this comes in. And the way it's happened is the infiltration of our education system.
A lot of people are moving away from the traditional education system, doing
exactly.
homeschooling and stuff like that, like we do with my kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, that's an awesome alternative.
That hurts
those dollars going to to the Department of Education. Yep. So, but stuff like that. And like I said, Tennessee, for some reason, 3 years in a row, and this is the Senator Janice Bowling that is my state senator.
Right. And
she's been trying to do this. This is the third time, and they kicked it down the road again. They won't pass this stuff until the federal government to pound sand. I haven't looked into that just because there's a lot to this to try and learn and absorb, but it's about staying in the fight and taking the next step, the next level. So that would be it, and making sure you're informed on your candidates, and calling these jokers.
So you said you feel there's still a chance. You feel there's still hope.
Yes.
What is the breaking point in your mind where it's like? Arm up. Here we go. This is what it's going to be. I mean, we laugh, right? But we hear this a lot. We hear this a lot,
sir.
Yeah,
pretty extreme.
Well, and so again, right?
I don't know if the audio answered that question.
We just had this conversation, and it's not out yet. But our previous podcast about we're already in World War III. It's this thing, and it's been this slow creep and whatever.
What does World War III actually look like?
And I'm not talking World War III to you, but where is the breaking point in your mind where it's like, you know what? Like Nick was talking about, big old red reset button. Where you don't feel we're there yet. Where do you feel that? What's the breaking point? You're like, shit. If we get here, this is like we're done. This is it.
This election cycle.
You think so?
I do.
Okay. That close?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I think.
Interesting.
I don't think we can survive.
That's good. That's good.
I don't think we can survive another 4 years, or even if they allow Joe Biden to serve another 4.
Okay.
If he wins the election, I think it goes sideways. Because they're just at that point. That's That's the way I see it.
All right. That's the answer to the question. That's good.
No, that's good.
All right. So, where are we at within the process? So, you're currently at the process of marketing, finding donors, to help promote, your campaign as you run.
Yep. Fundraising.
How much money do you think you need to raise to beat out the Yahoo that you're going up against?
Well, an average, they say.
Is there a number? Is there a number that you think you need to make?
I think $100,000.
Okay.
And I could put out
a lot of money.
Enough. It is.
I mean,
is it though?
But it's
but
well,
at that level, like $100,000 in a federal campaign, like, well,
the average is like 300,000.
right? Yeah, that's what
So
I'm saying. Like,
has
100 grand's
anybody
not-
come to you saying, "I will give you money if you do this for me"?
Ooh, special interests.
Yeah. No, not yet.
No, but you could tell us here. Come on, you can tell us.
We can edit this.
Do you want any of that? Would that benefit you if you had some group come to you and be like, "Hey, here's the deal.
We're going to
back you,
$1,000 right now."
but you're going to back us."
Well, and here there's finance campaign law that prevents donations
That's what
like
they
that.
tell us.
Yeah, whatever.
It is what
That's
they
what
tell
they tell
us.
us.
See, and now here's learning the process.
Yeah.
Is it because I'm looking around, I'm like, how do these guys? So the law
George
says.
Santos can get in there. Anybody can get in there. Sorry.
So you're only supposed to be able to fundraise for specific campaigns. So right now, all my donations are for this particular primary. Now I can say, so I could have started now and been like, okay, I am running for the 26 election, and I would have been fundraising and campaigning until that election. And you're only supposed to be able to use those funds, and they don't roll over. So like I said, all of mine are this election cycle. So all these funds,
all just going toward you winning the primary.
Yes.
And then it starts all over again.
then it starts
And you fundraise
for
Okay.
the next one. Yep.
Okay.
And those funds, and that's the next part of the process is figuring out how to wind down a campaign. is what
And
they
all
call
this
it.
money is going toward marketing.
Marketing, yes.
Is it going in?
And
Is
they-
it going
Majority
toward, is it
or
going
all?
toward anything else?
No.
I mean, what else? What else?
So
can it go for? Yeah.
what a lot of I've seen is people will like loan their campaign money and then pay themselves back. And so
and that's legal.
yes.
See?
Yep.
What the?
Yeah.
How is that legal? Loan it where? Loan it to yourself?
To your so
It's your campaign
here I've got
business, right? Your campaign's a business.
It is.
So you're
yeah.
loaning your personal money to your
Yes.
campaign? Okay.
Yep. So I loan my personal money to the campaign and then fundraise and then pay myself back
At an interest rate.
That I don't know. I'm not looking to do that.
No.
So, but I mean, like I said, I was looking
pay
around.
yourself back what you loaned yourself?
Yes,
You can't pay yourself back more?
Interest.
interest. I don't know how if you structure the loan that way. I guess you could.
You should probably run for office.
Yeah.
Sounds like some shady shit. I'm all about getting that money.
But I mean, I feel like, and again, a tangent here, but when Trump was arguing with Hillary, talking about like, yeah, I use the tax code. Like, if you didn't want me to use it, you'd have changed the tax code.
Yeah.
It's like, I got really good tax lawyers.
Yeah.
They use the tax code for me. Of
Exactly.
course, I don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
I don't have to.
I use it to my advantage as well.
So
being
do
a
I.
being a
Being a
business
business
owner.
owner.
I use it to my
Absolutely.
advantage. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's what you'll hear. And I can't remember which one, but the Democrats were hammering him because there's like $300,000. Like he didn't have the money to loan his campaign, so the campaign paid him back $300,000. And so, and that's where it comes in is like the opposition will start doing stuff like that and causing. So then you have to go through an audit with the Federal Election Commission, and so there's 3 different places I have to report finances
But you
to.
can pay those guys off too.
I don't know.
Don't set them up like that. So how do you stay above it all? How do you keep yourself in the clear? Because again, right, we're over here like, well, that sounds like a great idea.
So for me, I've always looked at it as this: is like for all politicians, you may start off with, this is my beliefs. I'm not going to become corrupt, and it's only a matter of time before you've succumbed to the corruption.
Batman.
Yeah.
I think that was the Batman movie that said that.
Maybe, I don't know.
Harvey Dent said that, I think.
Maybe. But no,
fair question.
That's what I've thought. Yeah.
So for me, 20 years of NCOERs with integrity. and not compromising.
Okay.
So and
But when that money's flashing in your face, sir,
so
smell it.
Yeah.
Smell it.
But as an example of this, so in Bosnia, I got an additional duty of being the customs inspector, which, breaking seals and it was ridiculous. Part of this was issuing ration cards. The ration cards, and I don't know who all you have watched, but so what you can and can't buy, like cigarettes, you can buy, a pack of cigarettes a month, whatever it is, a carton. So in a controlled item and the status of forces agreement, only specific people can have these ration cards.
You were in control of this.
I was. Yes. And so what had already been going on, the American ambassador not authorized, him nor his Bosnian local staff, not authorized to have rations cards. So here I am doing my little thing, and his secretary shows up and is like, "Hey, we need our new ration cards," which they've been getting ration cards. And I go through the thing. I'm like, "No, you're on the no-go list, so you can go away now." And so she goes away, and then she comes back, however much longer, and same deal. And I'm like, "No, you cannot have ration cards." It was very shortly after that I was no longer the customs officer. So they replaced it. So they just,
you weren't doing what they wanted.
Because I was doing what I told them.
They weren't playing ball.
So, I've had challenges like that in my past to say no, because I can see the greater picture, and that's the oath to the Constitution. And it's under attack from within. And so I'm like, all right, I swore an oath to it and was not relieved of it. So here we go. And this is where I fit in. And I mean, you guys too, the alternative is a horrible idea. It does not sound like a lot of fun. I know a lot of people in this country that I don't want to have to subject them to that madness. So
what madness, sir? What are you referencing?
I'm referencing war.
Okay, just want to make sure.
So, yeah. Okay. I don't. So I still see a path. We can fix it, but it takes a lot of new representatives and a lot of guys getting back into the fight, if you will. Yeah. And stopping it before, because I mean, it hard to say. It's not. It ends that way, or it ends with us in the breadlines.
So what would you say was your biggest eye-opening experience in this journey for you? Something that you were like, oh man, I had no idea it was X, or things were like this, or right? What was that? Because basically the majority of us are looking through the world through a McDonald's straw when it comes to politics. Right. Sure. I feel like,
pretty sure mine's smaller than that.
You're probably a coffee stir. Coffee stir.
I try to look away.
But even still, right? I mean, I can think back to, Obama era, Clinton era, Bush era. You'd be hard pressed to find someone on the street who could name you one congressperson, let alone two. But now again, as part of this news cycle and this and that, and I feel like we could probably name off a few of them just because it's in the sphere, right? Yeah. But so now our perspective is a little bit wider. But for someone like you, where you're even deeper into this game, what was something that was a revelation to you? Like, holy shit, I had no idea it was X.
The reporting process. So I've got 3 different agencies that I have to report finances to, and that's the Federal Election Commission, the IRS, and then the House Ethics Committee.
And this is your personal finances.
Personal finances and the campaign finance.
And campaign finance. Yes. Two separate things. Okay.
Yep.
Maybe two separate things.
So I got to disclose all that stuff. And you can be, it can be a risky business. You can be fined for the
opening
violations.
Yourself up to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Exposing yourself to a lot of risk. But like I said, to me, I was like, it's worth it. It's worth the fight.
Okay.
So.
Okay. All right. So let's wrap this up. Okay. For final thoughts, is there anything else that you would like to share with the viewers that we haven't covered already? Just what do you want to share with them?
Just that mindset. really, and to stay in it, and then to keep your sanity also, because I mean, you start digging into some of this stuff, and it's just like, what the crap?
Yeah.
So take care of yourself also. Come train at Ghost Ring Tactical. And
No need to get ready for it. I appreciate it.
No, but just just do stuff that you enjoy, and let that be the reason that you subject yourself to some of the nonsense here and there, and find those candidates that most closely align with the values and constitutionally.
Okay.
And stay in a fight.
Okay. All right, gentlemen. Again, this was eye opening for myself. Again, I know very little about what it takes to run for office. I've never looked into it.
Just what I see on YouTube.
Yeah. Again, I look at it. We all have our different perspectives of politics, politicians, and that sort of thing. Yeah. I am glad you are in this fight for us and everybody else, with our beliefs. So I appreciate you, sir, and what you are doing to stay in that fight, like you said.
And I appreciate you letting me come on here, because I know it's not probably the usual topics that you get.
Good. He presented us again. He's here as a student, and he's like, "Hey, I'd love to come on the show." I was hesitant because I'm like, I don't know. I didn't even know what questions to ask him. And then I'm like, you know what? Let's just roll with this and see how it goes. And I think it's been some pretty valuable information. I mean, even for myself, that we've extracted out of Tom here. And I think it's good. I think it's really good. So again, hopefully you guys enjoyed this show. If you guys have any comments, you guys can comment below, any questions, but please subscribe to the channel, and till next time, we'll see you then.
Thanks for listening to the American Gunfighter Podcast. Be sure to listen next week, and please don't forget to leave us a review. Also, if there's a topic you'd like us to look into, please be sure to leave a comment.